3 years ago, we talked about this same jail. The jail that you said, oh, we're not gonna do anything with it. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And then you lied then. And what ended up happening is you moved many of them, mostly black and brown boys, to North New Jersey and created a whole another slave institution in Essex County. And you let that lie. And you said you're gonna save $100 million over 5 years. It's been about 2.5 years. That gives you about 20, maybe 80 so million. We don't know what happened to that money. Now you're telling these people again that we're gonna put a request for proposal out there. We don't know where it's coming from, even though you know that ICE is very interested in that 10-story building there that house mostly black and brown people, and you're telling them this and lying away like you don't know what you're gonna do. So that's one thing. I am here for how you treat those same people that took out of black and brown people, which were mostly black and brown correction officers, where you done a whole lot to correction officer women. That's what I was here the other week for. And I named 10 women, many of them that went on the record, 2 of which filed a lawsuit, that some of the same white officers either sexually assault or in some cases even physically assaulted them. So we're talking about that too. Here at the jail again. You know what I'm saying? So this is a bunch of crap. But yet you call yourself Democrats and you're negotiating with the feds that you said you're against. Where's stop the lying and be truthful to these people? Lastly, and this is a very police county. We're the only county in the state that has Union County police officers. That's another conversation. So this is very suspect, folks. Do not let up on these people because they will lie to you. They will tell you a story, and then they'll go behind. They will go behind the back, and they will do the job behind the scene and let you know that they are negotiating with ICE to get rid of people of the Latin folks. My Muslim people, my mosque is right across the street. You just let them put a notice out. Now you got ICE all over my town. So you gotta pay attention this time. Because some of you are up for election. I'm really questioning the fact how you took a black person off the assembly, put a white person and replace it, and think we're gonna just go for this kind of crap. I'm telling you right now. Remember Salam Ismail of the 90s? Remember in 86 when it was Democratic control? When I brought those 40 kids in, next thing you know, you had 3 years and y'all been in control ever since. You ain't no better than Republicans that you replaced. So this is the time now that we now take up arms. Not physical arms, our voting arms, and to show the public what is real right. Put people in that's supposed to represent our community and represent
time is up. Thank you.
Sell us out.
Sir, time is up. Madam Chair, may I make a comment, please?
Yes, sure.
After the last meeting 2 weeks ago, I received communications from one of the individuals who is on Mr. Ismail's list. Out of respect for everyone's time, I won't read the entire email, but it says it.
You don't allow me to speak. You're gonna reference me, I'm gonna speak.
Mr. Ismail.
Sir,
Don't
if
mention
you,
my name.
if you
Don't
speak
mention
out
my
from the
name, I
crowd,
won't speak.
you will be removed. Please sit down.
You don't wanna do that.
Please sit down. You had your opportunity.
Out of respect for everyone's time, I won't read the entire email, but in essence, the employee, Marissa Taylor, states that she was made aware that at the March 13th commissioner meeting, Mr. Ismail displayed a board with a list of names, including hers. Her inclusion in the list inferred to the public that he had her permission to speak on her behalf regarding matters related to the employment with the county. She indicated that she is appalled that her name was used without her permission, and further that she has never met nor spoken to Mr. Ismail about this or any other matter. She further stated that she does not know why, what Mr. Islam's intentions were, but she also was so concerned about the matter, she contacted her PBA delegate, Dougie Wynn, with whom Mr. Ismail was apparently friendly, to have her name removed from, in her words, his shenanigans. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. We are short for time, please.
So to begin, her name is actually published in newspapers and things of that sort, but I would like to start off by saying.
We need your name
We need
and
your
town for the
name and
record.
town.
Oh, my name?
Your name and town for the record. Before
Okay. I'm from Elizabeth. My name is Diana Tabor.
Thank you.
I would like to address something earlier. When we stand up and we did the Pledge of Allegiance, we say a nation state, and that is a very problem with our democracy and our institution, that we are addressing our country as a nation, and a nation is not just a collective group of people, it's a collective group of people with the same ideals and same identity, and that's just not true. We are a multinational state and a multinational society, so we should address it as so. So, to start off, I'm here as a voice for the women who have been harassed, who are in the law enforcement field and are treated without dignity simply for existing, women who are judged not for their character, but for their gender, by their race, by biases that have no place in our society. Let me be clear, harassment is not just an inconvenience, it's a violation, it's a threat to safety, to dignity, and to the very fabric of our communities. And when this harassment is fueled by racism, it becomes an even deeper wound that is rooted in the history of discrimination and oppression that so many women of color have had to endure. The women in our communities are watching, the next generation is watching, and our history will remember whether we chose to uphold dignity of all people or allowed injustice to continue, as well as the immigration things. At its core, we all know that this is not about policy, it's about people, about families and workers and children who deserve to be treated with dignity, not criminalized for seeking a better life. Immigration detention centers are often framed as necessary for national security and law enforcement, but in reality, they're inhumane and ineffective and harmful to the way our community is fabric. We treat immigrants as if they're criminals, but they're not criminals when they're boosting your economy, are they? When they have businesses in downtown Elizabeth, Morris Ave, which you guys all love to go to and post on your social media that you're having a coffee there, but you're trying to kick them out, it makes no sense. This archaic institution loves to paint immigration as people who exploit the system, when in reality, the system exploits them. Immigration pays tax dollars to a nation and institutions that does nothing for them. That money does not go to them, yet you reap the benefits of their exploitation. America has exploited people of color for years. This American institution is deeply rooted in elitism and fascism and was never designed for marginalized communities to win. So one question I pose, if immigrants are placed in detention centers for so-called being illegal on this land and are treated as criminals, then where are you put? So if we're put in detention centers, where are white colonizers put? They're put in office, they're put in government and law enforcement to teach us about actions and correct our moral compass when they have no moral grounding to do so. They preach about giving oath and teaching what's right from wrong, when in reality, there was right from wrong. So in reality, we need to look in the mirror and see what we're doing, and that this isn't about protecting our society or protecting a nation from immigrants. It's about trying to cleanse in a very barbaric way. When in reality,
Good evening, Waitland Stellis, Linden. Last of the trilogy. Why this my third time, you don't care to see me. 2024, PBA came through these doors. We pleaded for understanding, but understanding couldn't be reached. I present before a panel that stares at cell phones, text messaging while taxpayers speak. Breathing hard, wishing and hoping this woman would stay home. You're not trying to hear another speech. I speak to the walls, nevertheless, I speak. My words vibrate and bounce to the people who are also concerned and frustrated by deceit. Again, I say I'm not here to question. Money people make or positions gifted, keep it in the family. Some are born with greed. Bruce Patterson, a Garwood fellow, wastes no time. He does his research, digging out bones and roots, removing the weeds. Committed to every meeting, the man is dangerous because he's also planting seeds. We don't want people to question. You want them to eat what you will feed. Union County Jail was built in 1989 with taxpayers' money. 36 years down the line, hidden agenda with big contracts, legal dealers ready to sell and make big money. See, I respect President Donald Trump. He shows who he is at least. Now we have Democrats criticizing Mr. Trump, but you're no better. You're all about big bonuses, all about the biz, only the green. In a sanctuary city, in a sanctuary state, people are only units, be it migrants, be it offenders. Prisoners are prisoners. It's all about the going rate. Did Mayor Baldwin even know, or is it, or this back deal backstage? Not part of the main show. You want us to eat what you will feed, knowing only some bank accounts grow. Please understand, when people work hard, Open Public Records Act. Yes, Oprah, what they need. But this is not a talk show, this is real life. You cut the taxpayers, but not the taxes with a sharp knife. Again, understand, Oprah Act is what the taxpayers need. If not, it's like a sacrifice and the people continue to bleed. I know I won't bleed, though you try to take our jobs, because he bled for me. Powers are dismantling DEI. It was always an illusion in this county. DEI for campaigns, what a lie. Nepotism on rotation. Nephew's son, maybe godson gets away with assault. No real investigation. Well, breaking news, God is her connection. Layoff galore, Nepo babies hired at 18. Do security first. In a year, you'll be promoted and get more money. How clean, seemingly professional. Layoffs are the new forms of termination. Keep it in the bloodline, though. Academically, not exceptional. The lies people speak, the lies people live, the lies people believe. Many politicians and hired lawyers really heartless and don't give. Since the days of old, the stories have been told. Tax collectors, foxtrot, stacking silver and gold. And the community misrepresented because arrogance is bold. Charismatic authority, appointed authority, elected authority. Beneath God is all authority. Don't let pride trick you into thinking my ascribed status as a minority can ever impede my voice to the majority. Last of the trilogy, I won't come to another meeting. Purpose was served, I spoke. I don't need these ones to speak.
Woo.
Hello? Yes. Larisha Barnes Elizabeth. I am a nationally recognized motivational speaker and social justice advocate with a focus on criminal justice reform and public corruption. With a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and a master's degree in political science and public affairs, I have over 20 years experience in the mental health and criminal justice fields. My perspective is uniquely shaped by my personal and professional journey. After 9 years as a probation officer in a toxic, racist work environment, I bravely took a stand by filing a discrimination lawsuit against the New Jersey Judiciary in both federal and state court. My fight for justice took a personal turn when my mentally ill nephew was illegally incarcerated because of my legal actions. In response, I wrote a book and did 2 documentaries so my case would not be covered up with NDAs or the way y'all cover up stuff. In an ironic twist, it was my position with the New Jersey Judiciary as a probation officer that will reveal the deeper, most insidious face of modern discrimination. As a Black employee in the state's court system, I stepped into what I describe as a carefully orchestrated maze of institutional racism, where the rules seem to fit depending on one's color, the color of one's skin. The disparities were stark and systematic, but armed with my deep understanding of American history and the mechanics of white supremacy, I recognized the patterns at play. The corruption began subtly, as it often does, and it worked through 3 key mechanisms: retaliations against those who spoke up, intimidation of witnesses, and protection for those in power. My experience paralleled a broader pattern seen in the criminal justice system, where false charges and manipulated testimony have historically been used to target Black individuals. What makes institutional racism so insidious as its self-protecting nature? Those who benefit from the system are the same ones tasked with policing it. I recognize white supremacists won't hold white supremacists accountable for white supremacy, highlighting this fundamental conflict of interest. The corruption wasn't just about individual bad actions. It was about a system designed to protect itself while punishing those who challenge its fundamental inequities. Through this experience, I discovered what appeared to be a broader pattern of corruption within New Jersey's public institutions. Systematic targeting of Black employees with fraudulent departmental charges, financially impacts beyond immediate suspension, affecting long-term pension benefits, possible money laundering, RICO violations by New Jersey public officers, a pattern of retaliation. I only got a minute, so I gotta hurry up. Okay. The lack of oversight and accountability in these cases points to a larger systematic issue that demands immediate attention and reform. And okay, I only got a minute, so I gotta hurry up. But I just want to say that the way Black women are treated in these institutions is not an isolated incident. They are targeted, and we did not take an oath for that. It isn't just a story about workplace discrimination.
Mike Fabricant. I've been in Elizabeth for 50 years. My children have gone to public schools in Elizabeth. And what this sale of this land has implications that, for me as a citizen of Elizabeth, are profound. Land for sale to detain. For whom? We know that the momentum to sell in this moment is to interests of those who can profit from the detention and imprisonment of immigrants. Pure and simple. And what are those? And when we ask about the undocumented, I'll say to you that my grandparents were undocumented. My great-grandparents were undocumented. And I dare say that many of the people sitting in this room regarding immigration, the folks that you owe your lives to, were undocumented. And what of those who are documented, who have dissenting political beliefs? Frankly, there have been arrests of documented immigrants because of political belief, speech, and organizing, which is frankly a desecration of the Constitution. All these arrests are part of a process, visible and not abiding by the rule of law. Are people being arrested and detained within accordance with their due process rights? Or rather, is it part of a larger witch hunt to arrest those demonized for their politics or immigrant status? Why would you be complicit with this profound illegality and injustice by paving the way for this resolution for more imprisonment and deportation of immigrants without a transparent, at least, rule of law and spirit of justice? Why aren't we paying more attention to a lack of affordable housing and health care for all of our citizens, which reaches across black, brown, white, every citizen who's struggling around those questions? Why this attack on immigrants as a resolution leads a process for the expanded detention of immigrants in Elizabeth? Let's be real. This is letting the genie out of the bottle if you vote for this resolution. I believe in the rule of law. I'm just an old-fashioned person with old-fashioned ideas, guided by a sense of justice, disturbed by the preying on the fear and vulnerability of those who just immigrated to our country. We betray those principles. Once the genie is released, there'll be no going back. If voting down will send a message beyond these walls, that you stand for principles of justice and law that grow ever fainter. I'm just an old man again with old-fashioned ideas. That ideas that our country was founded upon are now being betrayed. I ask you as one American to another.
Sir, thank you.
For all immigrants, thank you. And so I will say to you,
Sir, your time is up.
Stand up because
Sorry,
we're
you
that
Sir,
united
time is
defense
up.
part of
Please
ourselves,
don't ask them.
which is immigration.
Sorry, you must start.
Is I can outscream you.
Sure you can, sir, but your time is up.
That
Officer,
folks, that the thread that united
Sir.
us was
Sir, your time is up.
status and citizenship. Don't betray it now.
Good evening, Chairwoman Leon. My name is Joe Gallegos. I'm a resident of Summit, New Jersey. I'm here tonight to express my opposition, Resolution 2025-290 and 291 being used as a for-profit immigration detention center. I normally don't speak. I'm an airline captain. Last year I had the privilege of standing at ground zero on 9/11 alongside President Biden, then President-elect Trump, families and first responders, representing the pilot group of American and United Airlines. I also serve on the Union County Air Traffic Noise Board. I've served on that board since 2019. I've dedicated my 20-year career to aviation and public service, always with the belief that this country stands for fairness, justice, and dignity. And yet I know firsthand how fragile these values can be when fear and profit take priority over people. I'm an American citizen. I was on my way to civilian pilot training alongside my colleagues at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. And I was stopped by law enforcement in Arizona, not once, not twice. I was stopped 4 times in 24 hours without probable cause, without justification. The only thing they wanted to know, what was my immigration status? I'm pretty sure it's the way it looked. My wife, who drove the same route the next day, bringing my kids along with vehicles registered my name, wasn't stopped once. She's a blonde, born in the UK, white lady. So I have to ask, what does an American look like? My parents are Mexican. I'm sure many of you in this room have ancestry around the globe. That experience left me shaken. It's why I'm here. But it also made something clear that our immigration system is not about fairness or justice. It's about profiling, especially now as our nation is arresting immigrants who express opinions that are unpopular with the ruling administration. This is about power, and there is no interest at the federal level to fix it. Here in Union County, I don't think that we should be helping fix a broken system and give power over to a for-profit corporation or system that will benefit from the detention of immigrants. An immigration prison does not make us safer. It does not serve justice. What it does is create an industry that profits from locking people up. People like me, people like my neighbors, people who belong in this community. We cannot allow Union County to be a part of a system that treats human beings as commodities. We must say no to ICE, detention, and stand for a system that values dignity. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Ana Maria Hill, and I'm the New Jersey State Director and Vice President for SEIU 32BJ. We represent over 15,000 workers. They are janitors, security officers, your cafeteria ladies, your K-12 janitors. They are airport workers as well. We have over 2,000 members that live in Union County. Majority of our members are Black and brown immigrants. Majority of them live in cities like Newark, like Elizabeth, the same cities that have been facing raids and being stopped by immigration. I am also a first-generation Latina. My mother is Mexican. My mother is Colombian. My dad is Mexican. Got a little nervous up here, especially when police come over. But I'm the daughter of immigrants, and I was raised always fearing the police, always fearing a knock on the door. I don't want my members to live like that. We are in a city where less than a mile away, there is already a detention center. There is already one. So instead, we can use this space for affordable housing. We can use this space for workforce development. We can use this space for community space, for organization, for people to really be part of this community. Immigrants pay taxes. Immigrants buy groceries at the local stores. They rent. Their children go to school. Their children become VP of union to represent other workers. So separating them from their families is not what we should be doing. And I'll tell just a tiny story. My uncle, his daughter was facing heart disease, and she was facing heart transplant that she had to go through. She was 20 years old. He was in Minneapolis. He got on a bus to come up to see her. On the bus in 2018, they were stopped at a routine place to get gas. Immigration people came up onto the bus and took him. He was deported back to Mexico within 2 weeks. He never got to see his daughter. He never got to see if she was able to get her transplant. He will never see if she will have her kids, if she'll get married, because he wasn't there. We can't do that to the members of our community. They deserve respect. They deserve dignity, and I think we can all do that. We can stand together and be better for our members and for the members of our community. And I'm saying no to an immigration detention here in New Jersey, here in Union County, here in Elizabeth, where there's already one that exists. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brian Lozano, and tonight I'm speaking on behalf of the ACLU of New Jersey. I'm speaking on agenda item 225, 290, and 291. The ACLU New Jersey stands in staunch opposition to the sale of Union County Jail to any entity that could utilize the facility to detain immigrants and any expansion of immigration detention. We urge the commissioners to adopt a more robust process to ensure interested community members have time to review and comment on the request for proposal that is on the table today. At a moment in our country's history where rogue federal agents and agencies like ACE and others deputized to carry out immigration enforcement and are trampling on the constitutional and civil rights of immigrant communities, our local and county governments should not cower and concede, but stand in their constitutional authority and moral high ground to do what is right. And let me be clear, it is never right to profit from misery. For this reason, the ACLU New Jersey's position is that Union County's commissioners should guarantee a robust input and review process on requests for proposals and preclude the availability of Union County Jail to ICE or private prisons like Geo Group or Core Civic. Instead, it should opt for a non-carceral use of that facility. The city of Elizabeth and Union County broadly, like many other localities in New Jersey, is home to many immigrant residents, some citizens, other residents or undocumented, and many mixed status families. Institutions that detain and deport immigrants only serve to terrorize these communities, and ultimately, under this administration, to hold their family members, everyday people, and increasingly political protesters in violation of the United States Constitution. Additionally, issuing an RFP and soliciting bids for the Union County Jail without a robust review that allows for meaningful input from residents ultimately undermines any sense of transparency that this county government has with its constituents and residents throughout the state. Beyond the fundamental democratic principle that governments must answer to their constituents and operate transparently, Union County should not participate in instilling fear within its community. When ICE has fewer detention facilities, it is less likely to detain our neighbors and more likely to allow them to remain in the community while their civil immigration cases proceed, a decision that benefits New Jersey's families, communities, and economy. ICE itself has acknowledged that an increase in detention bed capacity enables intensified enforcement. These statements highlight how preventing the sale of Union County Jail to ICE or private prison operators at profit from the detention of immigrants can help keep families together and foster real community safety. In the end, Union County must not be complicit in the Trump administration's effort to carry out their promise of the largest mass deportation effort in this nation's history. And let me be clear again, if Union County sells the jail to an entity that detains immigrant community members, you all will be complicit in those horrors.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Giovanna Castaneda. I am a resident here in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I am a registered voter. I'm going to be speaking on Resolution 290 and 291. I want to be very clear here today about my demands. I understand that we have to sell this property, but I want to be clear that that property is used on the behalf of the community. We can no longer afford to separate families. 10 years ago, I was a 15-year-old student sitting in an Elizabeth High School classroom, fearing for my life every day that my mother would be deported. Deported and detained in an immigration detention center. An immigration detention center built to dehumanize people who come to this country to seek for safety, to thrive. A detention center built to separate families, as it did to me when I was 5 years old. And from night to day, when I was 5 years old, my mother became a single mother to 4 kids and homeless. Can you imagine that? I hope you never have to. But that was my life. And luckily, she persevered and she got all 4 of us to graduate from Elizabeth High School. And she got all 4 of us throughout college. Why? Because that is the American dream that we tell people to come here for, no? I am a living testimony as to the success of the American dream, of what it looks like to invest in communities and not invest in private prisons. Prisons that are created to separate our families. Have any of you actually walked through these streets? Beyond Broad Street. If you have not, I actually challenge you to. Because if you do, you will see the endless problems that Elizabeth has. You will see the endless problem that we have of homelessness rates. It is very clear Elizabeth's having a gentrification problem. Let's not be quiet about that. Go towards the poor. More homeless problems. Rent is increasing, food scarcity. We have lines of people begging for food, begging for eggs. And this is what we are worried about, selling property to separate families. Let's get our priorities clear. I thought 10 years ago, at 15, I had hope that by voting for politicians like you, that we would not be in this room again having to fight for this. And 10 years later, I'm still here. And I'll be here every day. And I hope that you stand on the right side of history. And I question you all, which side are you on? Are you on the side of the working class people? Or are you on the side of private companies profiting off our trauma, profiting to separate our families? Don't tokenize Elizabeth youth when we get into private schools, when we get into the colleges, when we are receiving scholarships and fellowships representing Elizabeth. But then have the nerve to want to deport my family. To continue to be proud.
My name is Juliet Menezes-Alvarez. I'm from Hillside, but I was born and raised here in Elizabeth, born down the street in Trinitas. I'm here to oppose 2025, 291, and 290. I firmly oppose the fact of just selling the building to whoever, especially when the possibility for ICE to come into our homes, to literally be its city center, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard of. I grew up here, went to Dwyer, graduated, still am in the state. This is the most ridiculous idea that has been conceptualized, given the fact that right there is Broad Street, our Commerce Street for Elizabeth, our other street for Latin community, which is Morris, which is all the commerce that we have in the city. And additional from that, it's where most of our immigrant community congregates. When we want to go out, take a coffee, try to buy something, we're right there. If you think selling this building is going to make profit for this county, you are sorely mistaken. Given the fact that you will evidently destroy this county exponentially from this decision. If you do this, there will be a mass exodus of people. The tax revenue for this will go off. You won't have any at that point. People that didn't rely on you are going to show you how much you rely on them. Because without us, this county isn't going to move all that well, is it? We make sure that we do the jobs that most people don't like. I know that for a fact because my mom, also an immigrant, I'm a proud Colombian, has done jobs that most people would rather die than do. I also feared for my life when it came to immigration, knocking on the door and taking my parents. So I'll tell you this, do this, sell that building, and you will never be able to be as successful as you are now. You will forfeit completely this county and all its people by doing such a traitorous thing. So let that be a reminder that doing this will completely destroy the county.
Case on Little Elizabeth, New Jersey. First of all, this is a country of immigrants. Immigrants built this country for free while enslaved and in bondage and all. And yet till today, we're still fighting the guilt of tomorrow. In the midst of pain, trauma, and suffering that has continuously been inflicted upon our people, black and brown people. And yet we have to show up and show out and petition our government with grievances and say to power's face that something is wrong and God damn it, we're demanding for you to do something better about it. Families deserve to be united and deserve to be together. Not fearing, worrying about when they drop off their daughters or their sons at school, if they'll still be here or in ICE custody. So say to yourselves, am I on the right side of history? And I'm doing the ethical thing, the moral thing, the just thing, the lovable thing enough to do. To keep folks together, the same folks who elected, or should I say selected you, to fill the seats and to do the business of the people. You have the capacity to reverse course right now, on this evening, to heal, to remedy the pain and the trauma and suffering of folks that they're enduring. Our siblings who are undocumented, that's looking to you during a time such as this, to say, I got your back, but talk is cheap. Institute the policy, put it in policy, and to say we're not going to spend taxpayer hard-earned black and brown dollars on sending folks to a place that dehumanize them, that still kill and destroy them. We have a moral obligation to love thy neighbor, to defend thy neighbor, and to stand up for thy neighbor. And that is why we are here tonight, to tell you that we're rising in full opposition of the proposal of 2025-291. It has no place in Elizabeth, no place in Union County, and you heard it from our siblings. You can use that building to house folks, to feed folks, room and shelter, mental health services. That is how you can save folks, and that is certainly how we can get to tomorrow, is using that building to really lift folks up and not continuously tearing us down. So no, I don't yield back. We're standing in full opposition of that bill. Do the right thing and be on the right side of history.
Hello, everyone. My name is Banan, and I'm from Elizabeth.
Assalamu alaikum. And I'm standing here in opposition to 225, 291. And I was sitting here today and listening to all the proposals and the presentation in the beginning, and I thought of the cognitive dissonance it must be to be happy to see the pharmacy that was, the pharmaceutical work that was happening for the community and the joy I saw in so many of your faces, and think about how in an hour, I'm going to be standing in opposition to something like a prison in Union County. So this is America. That was the question a Black and Muslim community member I picked up from Elizabeth Detention Center after he was released as a refugee said to me as he stood in the McDonald's parking lot and looked over the endless warehouses stretching in front of him. He sighed as he recognized that in between all of these warehouses meant to house products that consumers will buy and buy and buy, there was one where human beings are also just numbers, and subject to conditions no human being should be subjected to. Is there a price to humans? Apparently in Union County, it's 50 million. Elizabeth's history with immigration detention is a long one, and in the decades it's been opened, thousands have gone through its horrid doors. Today, people there complain and tell us of conditions they tell us of conditions of the physical abuse they face, the medical neglect, and the sexual violence. Is that the legacy this county wants to continue? The commissioner said that if we reopen it, it will only house criminals, reinforcing that there is a hierarchy on humans, that some people deserve to be in jail and others don't, and that some people deserve to live through horrid conditions and others don't. Whether private owned or government run, prisons and detention centers do not make communities safer. They disproportionately target Black, Muslim, and brown communities. They spread fear and deplete resources that can be invested in our communities, resources that make our communities less hungry, provide affordable housing for all, that treat and stop the conditions that force people to make difficult choices and decisions for survival. No human being, regardless of who they are, should be detained because they simply were born on the wrong side of the border. Point, period, blank. A community for all is all that we have against the tides that have allowed a genocide in Gaza to take place, that goes against criminalizing our right to protest and speech and causing a witch hunt against people who have protested against this genocide, like Mahmoud Khalid and Rumaisa Ostrek, who were kidnapped in front of us all. Union County can be the community that goes against creating these conditions that target people who had to leave for better lives because their home countries have been ruined by wars and threats, often led by our own interests and the products that line our warehouses. Historians trying to understand how atrocities can happen have come up with a concept called history technician.
Time is up.
They call it the technician.
That's right.
That's right. The technician that allow things to happen. You can decide to be technician or not.
Want to throw you out.
Please do not yell out from the audience.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Ben Applegate. My ancestors have lived in New Jersey since the 1640s, and I guarantee you they didn't come over here with any papers. Yesterday, a grad student from Turkey named Rumaisa Ostrek, who was invited here by the Fulbright program, was arrested by plainclothes ICE agents off the street in Somerset, Massachusetts. There's video of this terrifying encounter. I'd encourage you to go watch it. No one who lives in America and contributes to our collective life should be detained and deported. But Ms. Ostrek was here on a legal visa, and all she did was write an op-ed in the student newspaper calling for the bloodshed in Gaza to end. The federal government decided that was sufficient to detain her, and they have engaged now in deportations to a prison complex in El Salvador with no due process whatsoever. The Constitution is supposed to apply to all of us, not just citizens. Anybody in America has a First Amendment right to speak out. That is settled law. So remember this. If there is a group of people in America who have no rights, and the federal government can arbitrarily determine who belongs to that group, then none of us have rights that are worth anything. Detentions of innocent people with no way out have been the first warning sign of some of the worst atrocities in human history. And when apartheid ended, when Jim Crow ended, when the Holocaust ended, there were people with blood on their hands in local communities everywhere who said they were just following orders, that they didn't know what they were doing at the time. So my question for all of you is this: why would you sign up now to be a part of this? I understand that the building is there and you have to do something with it, but why would you sign up now to get your hands dirty? Why would you bring more of this cruelty into your own community? Why would you sign up to be middle management in atrocities? Don't sell this building to ICE. Don't sell this building for private prison premises. Some people here have good ideas for how to use it, but if you can't think of something else to do with it, tear it down. Moral duty isn't just an economic term. Yes, tearing down the facility will impact the long-term financial health of the county, but selling it as a jail will have a long-term moral, legal, and political cost that should be intolerable to you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Terry Seuss. I live in Union County. And I can't believe I'm here tonight. We worked for many years to get that building closed from being a public facility as a detention center. Same with Essex County College. And now there's sort of some talk of this sliding in and going to Geo Group, who, for all practical purposes, should not even be in Elizabeth at this point. That contract needs to be pulled, and that misery in our backyard needs to end. Everybody knows that there's a process for immigrants that has been underfunded, so we don't have a court system for them. So let's fix that. They were trying to last year. No, suddenly it's like we can't take time to have a due process for immigrants. So I would like to say that if you have been reading your phones and listening to the gentleman who just spoke, the people that have been arrested in the street outside their own homes, means that if you pass this tonight, you are tone deaf to what is going on in this country. And it is terrifying. And I say that as a regular citizen. If they're gonna do that to these young people, what are they gonna do to us? When? Not too long from now, probably. So you must vote this down. If you want to figure out what to do with that building, don't put it up for an RFP. Have some community meetings. Have some process and get real about how to deal with this actually sad eyesore that's in the middle of Elizabeth, New Jersey. It maybe $50 million is a good use, and maybe it should be knocked down. You know, if it can be repurposed, that might be reasonable. But I'd say you really need to not pass this resolution tonight, or this piece of whatever it is. Yeah, it's really offensive to all of us who live in the county, many people who live in the county. And I would like to also point out that nobody's talking about the fact that we need these young people. Look at your demographics. The people here are old. We are old. You know, there are new young people coming here with a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of hope. And we need to be fostering that and not treating it like it's garbage. You know, these doctorate students, the people that are being arrested, this is embarrassing. Those people were brought here on Fulbright scholarships, and they're treating them like common criminals. So you do not want to be a part of that. People have spoken tonight. They've spoken better than I, but please vote this down. Do not take this on and go into another process.
Good evening. I'm also speaking in opposition to 290 and 291. My name is Adam McGovern. I'm a resident of Parsippany, but I work with Wind of the Spirit Immigrant Resource Center in the proud sanctuary city of Plainfield, right here in the county. The city council there recently passed unanimously a resolution in favor of the Immigrant Trust Act, which is an example of how people in decision-making positions should be working to keep us all protected. And I want you to bear in mind that the closing of a jail forever is a good thing. It's a sign that our society, including our leaders, has done something right. If we want to say we're the freest country in the world, then we should want to do everything we can to make it a little less true that we're also the country that locks up the most people. It's all the worse when you can see that promise being broken right down the block. This is the kind of mistake we make over and over again. When the Cold War ended, we could have asked ourselves, how do we take that money and invest it in each other and build the kind of country that's worth defending it to begin with, instead of our leaders looking around and saying, where do we find our next enemy? In the same way, when a jail empties out, you should say, what positive thing can be created in its place, not what do we do to fill it back up again as soon as we can. You can choose not to make that mistake tonight. Sure, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your county's people, but you fail them when the equation doesn't include their value as human beings. To embrace or even consider ICE incarceration now would be an abomination, and to not rule it out right now is the real dereliction of duty. There's a difference between financial responsibility and indiscriminate loyalty to the goddamn dollar, which is all you will get if you bloody your hands with companies whose only mission is to make money off the misery of people being persecuted by our new dictator. Most of them came here to get away from that kind of thing because they believe that this country is different. It's up to you to show them they were right, and will be on you if you break that promise again.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Myrie, and the spirit of the room. Hello. My name is Lisa Myrie, and the spirit of this room is very heavy on the treatment of the people here in Union County. I'm here on a different subject matter to discuss the women's rights for the women in police force, the women that are probation officers that are discriminated against, experience sexual assault, and they are protecting us and we're not protecting them. I am appalled, and I am sure that you all benefit from equal rights, equal protection. And we should stand on those things. They should not be taken away or our protections taken away. We fought for civil rights. We fought to be equal, to have positions of employment, to have positions where we're proud to represent our country. I say, speak the names of those people that have been abused and support them when they file reports. Those names I speak is Monique Hall, Marissa Taylor, Vanessa Wilson, Regina Mayer, Gina Lewis, Valerie Diaz, Helen Boyd, Waylon Sellers, Beverly Figueroa, Hasana Adams. Harassment, intimidation, sexual assaults, racial abuse. These things should not be tolerated in 2025. We fought for these things to be decimated in 1965. So why are we way, way behind in enforcing the law when we have women who not only put their lives on the line because they have children, families, husbands, nieces, nephews, but they put their lives on the line to protect and serve, but they don't get the reciprocation of being protected when abuse takes place in their workplace. So I just wanted to come here and speak in support of that. And the spirit of the room is very heavy on what is going on with immigration, but I am implored and agree with them that all lives matter, Black lives matter, immigration matters. We all matter and we deserve to be heard. Thank you for hearing me.
Hello, my name is Hasana Smith-Thomas from Elizabeth, New Jersey. I am one of the representatives from the National United Youth Council. Today I came, of course, to speak about the same topic last time we was here, about the Black women correction officers, but it overwhelmed my heart when I came here today because I didn't know anything that was going on with ICE and with the building, and I also do oppose that stop it. I'm a proud resident of Union County. I was raised here, I went to school here. My 9-year-old came home one day after Trump took office. She said, "Mommy, I'm scared to go to school." I said, "Why are you scared to go to school?" She said, "Because they said ICE is going to come into the schools and into our sanctuary." I said, "What sanctuary?" She said, "Into our churches. They come and get the immigrants. Some of my friends, some of my parents." She's a 9-year-old and she is scared. So can we imagine how the teenagers are, how the families are? They're scared. Every single one of y'all have a voice. Everyone in this building have a voice. That needs to help us. We need to come to some type of resolution. Y'all want to take that building and put ICE immigrants in it? What about the homeless people that's in Elizabeth? And I'm about to be one of them. I have my own foundation. I work for a great man in Union County. A lot of people don't like him. He got a lot of mouth. We serve the community. Rent is $2,000 for a 2-bedroom. They told me, even though I work every day, I work at a medical facility. You know what they told me? I made too much money. They can't help me. So me and my 9-year-old is about to be out in the street. What about affordable housing? Make that building to affordable housing for people. Yes. I work every day. I don't get welfare. I don't get Medicaid. I don't get food stamps. And I still can't afford $2,000 a month. So back to what I came here for. Black women who work in the justice system face a host of barriers, including sexual assault, racism, trauma, sexual abuse, and discrimination, unbiased trauma right here in the city of Elizabeth and Union County. Last time we were here, I said we came to the wrong place. We need to go to the prosecutor's office. But guess what? This is the freeholders. These are commissioners. That can't start this. That can't open an entry to find out what's going on. The same people that told us to go to the prosecutor's office to go help, they helped y'all. They right here. They was surrounding me when I was trying to get inside the building today. So they was on their job. They was doing what they supposed to be doing. Why should they be subject or worrying about their co-workers and their supervisors for sexual abuse? Why can't they work regular jobs like everybody else?
Thank you.
It starts with y'all. We want justice, so we need justice.
Your time is up.
Buenas noches, distinguidas autoridades y público presente. Mi nombre es Mercedes y vivo en esta ciudad 3 años junto a mi niña.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Eddie Morsi. I'm the Director of Make New Jersey. I'll be translating for Mercedes. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mercedes, and I have lived in the city for 3 years with my daughter.
Dada la situación actual, como mamá inmigrante, estoy con mucho miedo a la nueva política de deportación.
We're living in an uncertain situation, and every day I get nervous about the deportation issue.
Estoy aquí esta noche para asegurarme de que se mantenga el condado de Union seguro.
I'm here tonight to make sure that we keep Union County safe.
Sé que hoy en esta ciudad va a votar para poner una cárcel en venta.
I know that tonight the city is voting to decide if they're going to put the jail up for sale.
Nueva Jersey se está convirtiendo rápidamente en la capital de las cárceles de inmigración del país.
My concern is that New Jersey will quickly become the capital of immigration detention, especially here in Elizabeth.
Principalmente la ciudad de Elizabeth. Esto pone a toda la comunidad en peligro.
Put all of us at risk.
Estamos en una situación incierta y no sabemos qué va a suceder si se diese el caso de experimentar una situación como una deportación.
We don't know what would happen if we had to go through an experience of detention and deportation.
Cada día que salgo a la calle o envío a mi niña a la escuela, siempre tengo miedo y estar alerta a todo a mi alrededor.
Every day when I take my daughter to school, I always have to be on the alert of everything around me.
Y con la preocupación de no saber qué va a suceder con mi niña.
And I worry what would happen to my daughter if I was taken from her.
A nivel personal, porque por el miedo ya no podría hacer mis labores cotidianas, como ir al trabajo y enviar a mi niña a la escuela.
Because of the fear, I no longer do my daily tasks. I go to work less. I try to send my daughter to school less.
Sería un daño muy grave a nivel psicológico y económico, porque no podría salir de manera segura a la calle, por lo mismo que incrementa el racismo y el rechazo a nosotros.
Together, me and my daughter face serious psychological and economic damage. I can't imagine how much worse it would be.
como migrantes, tanto en las escuelas, en los trabajos y en las calles.
It's not just been for me, but for all other immigrants at work, at school, and in the streets.
Agradecería que por favor tomen mi testimonio como una voz de muchos inmigrantes.
I hope today that you take my testimony as the voice for many other immigrants who live in the city, in the state, and in this county.
Thank you, your time is up.
She should get double time because of translation. She should get 3 minutes to speak, not the translation. She should get 3 minutes to speak. It's not her fault, you don't have one translation.
I give up my time.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Maura. Soy miembro y líder de Media Road, New Jersey. Vivo en Rahway, New Jersey, Union County.
Good evening, my name is Laura. I'm a member and leader of McLeod, New Jersey. I live in Rahway.
Ha sido mi hogar desde el año 2006. Soy madre de 6 hijos maravillosos que se están criando en este condado.
I've lived in Rahway since 2006. I'm the mother of 6 children who have grown up in Rahway.
Y son parte de nuestra comunidad. Muchos conformamos familias de estatus mixtos. Mis hijos estudian en escuelas públicas de mi ciudad.
My story is like many others. We're mixed status family.
Estoy aquí para poner en claro que yo no quiero que el condado de Union considere vender esta cárcel a prisiones privadas.
I'm here tonight because I want it to be on the record that I am not interested in the county selling the Union County Jail to any private prison.
Con capacidad de convertirla en una cárcel de inmigración. Sé que decimos que esto tomará mucho tiempo, pero a una cárcel de inmigración en el futuro 2028 aún es una cárcel de inmigración.
I know what we heard here tonight is that it's a long process, but an immigration detention center in 2028 is an immigration detention center.
¿Cómo es posible que siendo un estado santuario están considerando abrir un centro de detención en esta ciudad?
I came here today a little confused, hoping that I would hear clearly that because we're a sanctuary city, it's something that we would never entertain.
Nosotros como miembros de esta comunidad nos sentimos muy preocupados, pero ahora más con toda la retórica anti-inmigrante proveniente.
I'm concerned as a county resident, but even more concerned because of the anti-immigrant sentiment.
Por lo cual solicitamos encarecidamente que el condado de Union nos apoye.
For all these reasons, I'm asking that the county support us in.
Y no permitan que esto pase, porque de ser así tendría un impacto catastrófico, ya que pone en peligro la integridad y estabilidad de todas las familias que vivimos en este estado y por ende no estamos de acuerdo.
I'm here to say if you want to sell the building, sell it. But I just want it on the record that none of you will ever commit to contracting with ICE or a private prison that would then contract with ICE. If so, it would have catastrophic impact, jeopardizing the integrity and the stability of all the families who live in the state.
Pido que nos aseguren de no dar posibilidades de negociar con las prisiones privadas y con ICE. Sí se puede.
I want your assurances that we won't contract with private prisons or ICE. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Raquel. Soy miembro y líder de Media Road en New Jersey. Soy ciudadana americana y yo voto.
Good evening, my name is Raquel Morsi. I'm a member and leader of McLeod, New Jersey. I'm an American citizen and I vote.
Llegué hace muchos años a este país, donde hice mi vida entera, me casé y tengo 3 hijos profesionales. También pago impuestos como cualquier residente en este gran país.
I arrived in this country more than 30 years ago. I live in Hillside and I have 3 children. I pay taxes like any other voter.
He visto cómo ha crecido día a día la ciudad de Elizabeth. Nuestra ciudad es grande y próspera.
I have seen how this city has grown day by day. It's large and beautiful and prosperous.
Y esto ha sido para nosotros los inmigrantes trabajadores.
And this has been a result of the hardworking immigrants of this city.
por nuestro esfuerzo laboral, contribuciones económicas, culturales.
Because of our hard work and our cultural contributions.
Elizabeth es la ciudad que somos una ciudad con mucha diversidad, la cual nos hace única y sobresaliente.
We are blessed with so much diversity. It makes us unique and it makes us outstanding.
Y ahora mismo estoy muy decepcionada al escuchar que hay una posibilidad que ICE esté en la parte de atrás de nuestras casas.
And right now, I'm very disappointed to hear that there is even a remote possibility that ICE could be right behind my home.
Sé que hoy se va a votar para la posibilidad de recibir propuestas, incluido de pensiones privadas y de ICE.
I understand that today there will be a vote on the possibility of just beginning to receive proposals. But again, I just wanted to be clear that I am not interested in private prisons or ICE. This is alarming and dangerous for our families.
Esto es alarmante y peligroso para nuestra familia y comunidad entera. Por favor, pido a todos los presentes que nos aseguren que no van a permitir que el condado de Union haga negocio con prisiones privadas y con ICE. Muchas gracias.
I want to hear from each of you tonight that you won't contract with ICE or private prisons. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Maya Ponton-Aronoff, and I'm with Resistencia en Acción. And while my community asked me to come speak here today against the sale of any land or building for any incarceration purposes ever, each one of us speaking here today, there's 10 more outside that weren't allowed into space. There's 1,000 more in our neighborhood. There's millions of us across the country who do not want more mass incarceration, and we outnumber those CEOs. So, what could we do with this land, right? There's many examples across the country of incredible things that have been done to rehabilitate former prisons, right? From green job training centers to housing to mental health services to youth education, right? And so many of us are here because we believe in planting the seeds to grow a better world where everyone has their needs met and are cared for in a loving community, right? Not in cages. Yes. But what else is happening, right? America is first in mass incarceration. I'm Jewish, so I'm very aware through ancestral lineage of what fascism looks like. Fascism, genocides, occupations, mass incarceration is also what I studied in college. Now I work in public policy, environmental justice, building that better world, planting those seeds we want to see, right? These corporations have profited off of our bodies, and particularly Black and brown bodies, for all of America's history, right? As a Jew, and many of us in our history books, we're saying, wow, this looks a lot like 1930s Germany. It looks a lot like America, because the very racism, eugenics, narratives about immigrants, about disabled people, about the undesirables that separate me from them, the people who deserve to be in cages, who don't deserve to breathe free, clean air, is the same, right? And Americans, people over the world, have a choice to be the person who looked away, to be the person who did business as usual, to be the person who put profit over people, or to stand the hell up. You have the power to stand up and put into the law that this land will never be used for mass incarceration. I'm going to take this off so you can read my lips. Never be used for incarceration of anyone ever again. That it will be used to heal and invest in communities. And one more thing. I woke up today like I've woken up every day lately. I'm sure many of us checking the news. And on that news, I see that yet another person has been taken from their family for having a tattoo for autism awareness for their brother. They are now deported to El Salvador. And I look at my husband and his arm where he has tattooed Micah 6:8. What does the Lord ask of us? But to do justice, love goodness, and walk humbly with our God. Whatever your tradition, I think that's all that's asked of us in this world. And doing justice and loving goodness does not look like selling out this county to massive corporations.
Thank you.
And gruesome lines
Thank you.
in the
Your
sand
time is up.
to decide who lives and who dies on either side. We are all one people,